All right, guys. Our next guest is the number one ranked UFC featherweight in the world, going down to Brazil and beating Jose Aldo. This man has been undefeated in the UFC, riding a 7-fight win streak. As a matter of fact, his only professional loss was in 2013. I mean, that's pretty crazy statistic right there. It's a pleasure to welcome one of our own, one of the guys putting Australian MMA on the map, Alex the Great Volkanovski. Welcome back to Submission Radio. And you come into us from a pretty sweet site. Looks like a nice stadium there. Sort of relieving your NRL days, Alex.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Footy Stadium. I don't know if you can see that.
Wow.
Yeah, over here. No, that's where our Baymed is anyway. So where I do my strength and conditioning. Mate, what an intro. How good was that intro, mate? That sounds unreal.
Nice intro. Nice.
It all goes downhill from here, Alex. We'll be honest, but it's good to have a highlight in the interview.
I'm not surprised. That was beautiful.
Really appreciate coming on the show, man. We obviously understand you're back in the swing of things in training. Apparently, you're just doing battle ropes just moments ago. That's how kind enough you are to join us right after battle ropes. How is the body feeling though? Give us the update.
It was good, mate. Yeah, I just finished battle ropes on the phone to use. I don't even look puffed, mate.
No?
It shows you I'm in nick. I'm in good nick. I'm always in good nick. That the hospital didn't, and the leg didn't slow me down, mate. Slowed me down for a little bit, but yeah, all good now. Body's good.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, though, because things weren't so good in that hospital. I believe it was in Chile. You were talking about your leg at the lowest point, at the worst point. How bad was it looking? What were the doctors saying?
Well, look, there was a language barrier there, like being in Chile, them speaking Spanish. And that. Luckily, Joe was with me, my head coach, Joe Lopez, from Freestyle Fighting Gym. He was with me through the whole trip, which helped a lot. So I'm very thankful that he was there. But, you know, it was just, look, it was, and I know it sort of hit the headlines, like, oh, almost chopped his leg off and stuff like that. I think they just ran with a bit of the story that, you know, they sort of maybe worded a little bit different. It could have went that bad. Obviously, people that get bad infections and then they go through the tendons and bones and ligaments, yeah, that can be fatal. That can actually kill you, and it can, you know, cause chopping a leg off or whatever it is. So lucky enough, we're pretty close, but the infection didn't get into my tendons and all that. So I was lucky with that. We'll put it this way, if I was end up jumping on that next flight or that little bit longer, there was a good chance we would have had it in there anyway. So luckily, I had to make that stop in Chile. Otherwise, you know, a couple of hours in on that next flight, we would have all been half dead. People would have known something's up. We would have to turn the plane around. By then, you know, it would be too late. Obviously, the damage is done. I would have had serious problems. But, you know, that's sort of what I meant. That's what I said. But then they're like, oh, he almost chopped his leg off. But you know, it was all right. Made a good story anyway. I should just run with it anyway.
That's crazy. Oh my! How do you look back on that? Like you just said, if you had caught a different flight or if they weren't able to stop, we might not even be talking right now, and you know things could have been very very different. And it's crazy. Like, true to the Aussie spirit, you're very laid back about it. But do you sort of look at that as like, oh my God, like that could have been a near death experience? Like I might have been out of there.
Well, like realistically, I should have been on that 12-hour flight to New Zealand or Australia. But they took us somewhere. The flight went to somewhere else in Brazil, then to Chile, then we were going to go to New Zealand. So usually it wouldn't be that many flights. So if I just done that in one flight and then, you know, I was feeling shitty by then, but I didn't think nothing of it, I would have went on that next flight. And then halfway through that flight, we would have known, like we literally had to make a decision, turn the plane around to get there quicker or keep going. And by then, again, I would have had serious problems. So it was luckily I had that 2 stopovers. You know, usually people, you know, you're dreading that. Who wants to two stopovers? But I guess I sort of got lucky with that because it would have been really bad if I was still stuck on the plane. And obviously the pressure made things worse as well. All that pressure and from eating so much in my leg, you should have seen, honestly, when you've seen the photos, that was nothing. Straight away when I first went to the hospital from the plane, and because I hold a lot of water, especially after fights, every time I'm on a plane, my ankles go big as it is. Then with the trauma and then the infection and all that swelling as well, it looked unbelievable. Like I wish I'd shown you even my shoe. Like I had it that like loose, like the laces were fully undone and fully opened, and like it was just funny. If I could show you how the shoe was, and you'd blow out.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous. It was that fat. Like, honestly, I didn't have any ligament damages or nothing in my leg, but my ankles sort of got pretty sore, so I ended up getting bruising. And I think from how much it swelled up, I'm pretty sure I done a little bit of damage in there from how fat they got.
Wow.
So I had obviously I had it was tender from kicking with it, but on the side here I had something with the ligaments or something that would have just been a little tear or something little anyway. I'm pretty sure that was purely from just how fat my foot got.
Well, I know you had to move your friend moved his wedding so that you could be there. I imagine your speech would have started with, I would have given an arm or a leg to be here.
Hey, I missed that one. Hey, that would have been good.
We got to get us on the speech crew, man.
Oh, mate, I nailed the speech, and now you're making me second guess my speech. I done well with the speech, though. I was pretty happy with that. I had to go after Eli's brother, and man, did he do a speech. I'm like, far out. Who put him before me? I couldn't believe it. But I done all right. It was good. The wedding was good. It was good to obviously be there. I got to drink, and, that was like my first proper drink since I've come home. My ankle ended up swelling back up, so I had to stop. Towards the end of the night, I stopped drinking, and I had to get my antibiotics because it started swelling up and getting red and hot again. So I don't think the infection was fully gone. So I had to do another cycle of antibiotics straight after that. So at least I got to drink that. So it's all good.
That's good. And it's good to hear that you're feeling a lot better and the body is healthy now. But I mean, of course, you have this fantastic victory over a legend in Jose Aldo, and then you come back and then you find out Frankie Edgar is getting the next title shot. What was your reaction when you saw that?
Well, I was in the hospital. So when that actually come out, I was like 40 plus degree fevers, and so I was out of it. And they didn't want to tell me straight away, and I was asked for the phone, but they just didn't give it to me. And like I said, I was out of it to realize what was going on. But then woke up in the morning, and I was like, "Oh, where's my phone?" Like, I just wanted my phone. And they're like, "Oh, should we tell him?" And then they told me the news. But I had so much on my mind. Obviously, I was dirty on it, and like, what the hell? But again, I always try and stay positive, even while you're in a hospital bed, worrying about your leg being chopped off, getting the title off you. You know what I mean? It was it was hit pretty hard all at once. But at the same time, I was like, all right, well, it is what it is. I'm still looking at, let's get this leg better. I still want that title by the end of the year. So, that still looks like that's the plans anyway. So let them fight. If anyone was going to grass cut title in front of me, I'm glad it was Frankie. You know what I mean? Frankie is someone that does deserve it. He's been around. He's done great things for the sport. He is a top bloke, so good on him. But at the same time, if he wins or if someone gets injured on July 26, I'm filling in for that spot, and I'll take that title on. I'll be ready. I'm going to stay fight fit. I'm going to stay on weight. But if not, whoever wins can take me on later that year. I want that belt before 2019. That's my goals. I want one more fight, and I want that belt before the end of the year.
Well, we had Coach Eugene on the show as soon as sort of you got your victory and that was announced. And he said that Israel Adesanya, he was pretty upset when he heard the news and said that he'd be willing to sort of delay his fight with Robert Whittaker to a little bit later in the year to make sure the winner of the Holloway and Edgar fight is ready to defend against you in the co-main event. I mean, what do you think when you hear something like that? A teammate wanting to make sure you can make the card and willing to move the fight just to make sure you can be on there with him.
Well, it's an unreal feeling, you know what I mean? Like, just shows you what type of bloke he is. Even all of them, even Eugene and all that, they were, again, like obviously I fight out of Freestyle Fighting Gym, and they're a gym that I go do my camp, so I'm a big part of their gym as well. And that just shows you how much I am a part of their team as well. So it's a great feeling for him to even say that, it's just unbelievable. But again, I don't expect him to, hold things off too much. Nothing's promised for me. Someone could get injured and all that. Hopefully he's just looking after himself. But at the same time, mate, I really appreciate it. And look, it could still happen. But again, we'll see what happens. Again, the UFC, that's still what the UFC plan. If they can get a quick turnaround up with one of the boys, if they fight, and then they can have a quick turnaround and get me on that card, fight for the title, they would love that. They would absolutely love that. But I mean, obviously, can't promise nothing yet till they fight. But Frankie reckons he would turn around and fight me later this year. Good on him for that. He is a man of his word, so I reckon he'll do it. Max, you never know. Will he want to chase the 155 fight again or something? I don't know. Again, he hasn't made any promises. Oh, he did say something about never say never, never say never. He did say that in one of his posts. So, yeah, you never know. But, I mean, I won't blame him if he doesn't want a quick turnaround against someone like me, but hopefully he does. Sends the game, he says, send me a contract and I'll sign it. Let's hopefully the guys send him a contract for that October card.
Well, looking at that matchup, Edgar versus Holloway, I mean, who do you think wins it? Because a lot of people are sort of thinking Max Holloway might retain, but Frankie Edgar's a veteran who's, always dangerous.
Yeah, 100%. And we're not just talking about being veteran and like stylistically, but like styles go so far in this sport. People really don't realize that. People like try and, this guy beat this guy. How's he going to beat this guy? And they do that type of fight map and all that. Mate, styles make fights. Been happening for years. Like this triangle where one person can beat someone, but can't beat that guy, but that other guy. You know what I mean? You just get what I'm trying to say. That shit happens all the time. And in this instance, like I know Max absolutely bashed Ortega, and Ortega beat Frankie. But I mean, stylistically, Frankie's a pretty hard matchup for Max. But whether he's fallen off the edge so much since his last fight, he is getting older. He's not getting any younger. He is aging now. He's been in the game a long time. He has had a long time off. Hasn't been fighting very regularly. So maybe he's not the same person he was. But if he is, he will give Max problems. He can set a high-paced fight. He's obviously got the gas tank, and then he's got the wrestling. So, we know what Max likes to do. He likes to press forward, punch in volume. He does get hit, which is why I'm a very bad matchup for him. But I'm not worried about Frankie landing big shots, but the fact that he'll be able to handle the pace and then he's got the takedowns while Max is trying to come forward, I think he could win a decision. I really do think that. But again, if Frankie gives Max Holloway troubles, I'm going to give him major problems, and that's for sure. And we'll see what happens. But again, I'm a bad matchup for Max Holloway, and people can say what they want until it happens, and everyone will believe me after I get it done.
Well, I think the UFC would be foolish not to put you on the ESPN desk to break down this fight, because you did a fantastic job of it, Alex. I wanted to sort of expand on what you just touched on. Who do you think is more challenging for you at this point, Frankie Edgar or Max Holloway? As you mentioned, styles make fights, right?
Yeah, exactly. I just think, again, no one's really a bad matchup for me, to be quite honest. I'm that well-rounded. I can always adapt. Your worst type of matchup, my hardest fight, I believe, is someone like a Chad Mendes. People will sit there and say Frankie Edgar is sort of the same, but he's not as powerful as Chad. So I'm going to be too strong he's not as powerful as Frankie. I'm going to be too strong for Frankie and too powerful, you know what I mean? So I just think that'll really, and obviously I can deal with his pace and all that sort of stuff. And then I've got so many other tools. Max, again, he's tough. He's got a major chin. So when I am landing them big bombs, there's a good chance he can take them. So he'll be in the fight for a bit longer. But, mate, again, I honestly think, Chad would be a harder matchup than Max. And that's not any disrespect to Max. Max done great things. Max done bigger things than what Chad has done. But stylistically, that's just what I think. And you've seen what I was able to do to Chad, even though I think that he is a harder matchup than some of these other guys. I'll always find a way to get it done. Yeah?
That's fascinating. So I guess in some ways, do you feel like your hardest test in the division, you've already passed that?
Yeah, Chad was definitely a big test. Again, that's why I wanted it. I knew where it would get me. But again, I believe I can beat anyone in the division. And so I'll fight anyone. So that doesn't really matter. But I'm a bad matchup for everyone. That's what I mean. Like, you got these guys that are, people, even with Aldo, people are sitting there being like, oh, yeah, he's takedown defense. You ain't going to do this. You ain't going to do that. How's Alex going to, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I'm picking him apart on the outside and stuff like that. Who would have thought that? You couldn't tell me that I was going to be out of his range and you know what I mean? And just sort of shut him down and like outpoint him that way. No one would have expected that. But it just shows you how much depth I've got and how far I can go this. You give me one problem, I've got that many other tools to throw at you, and then it's no longer a problem. I've got a different problem for you.
It's interesting because you mentioned obviously Max Holloway and the fact that he tried to go up to lightweight. A lot of people think he's kind of in a difficult position because it seemed like Dana White and him were kind of planning on him going up to lightweight, possibly winning the title there, and sort of not fighting at featherweight as much because he's had those issues cutting weight and all of that kind of thing. What do you think about the position that he's in now? He's sort of the champion there, but do you believe that he'll be able to sort of hang around in the division for a while, or do you think eventually he'll have to move up?
Mate, look, I think he will eventually move up. He's probably heart set on featherweight right now. Again, you know, I'm not one to talk shit, but I'll fight him and I'll make his decision for him, and then he'll go back up to lightweight. And again, that's just, yeah, again, like if I'm planning on taking that title 2019. So, you know, once he feels that, why suffer in 145 when I'm the champ? So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But again, you know, he's probably got his heart set on featherweight, but, you know, that'll change soon.
See, you're a nice guy, Alex. You're helping people make decisions for them. I was going to say...
Exactly right. Who would have thought you could punch someone in the face and do them so much of a world of good?
Right? It's like a favor. I was going to say, what did you think when... I imagine you would have seen Henry Cejudo's massive win this past weekend over Marlon Moraes, and he expressed that he'd like to go up to featherweight at some point and capture a third belt.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, Henry. Come on, mate. Now, look, honestly, what he done was unbelievable. It was good on him. I actually picked him to win. I didn't expect him to have so many problems early. I knew the guy was powerful. You know, maybe the ankle was why he wasn't. You know, maybe that's why he was sort of cowering to the kicks a little bit. If you get what I mean, he was sort of pretty flat-footed in that. I thought he would have done a little bit more on the outside to make it a little bit more difficult for someone like Moraes to just load up big kicks like. But again, that could have been the ankle. So for him to overcome that and get it done, good on him. Him coming to 145, you know, again, you're going to be quick in this division, but you know we're still quick, and then you know we're just a whole nother powerful type of beast, and we're pretty, you know, we're a stacked division. That's a lot of very tough guys in our division. I don't think you'll want any of that, but maybe we'll give it a crack. Maybe UFC will let him do it, but yeah, that'll change quick.
I mean, if you ever had to sort of fight him, if you ever moved up to the division, how do you see a matchup between you and him playing out?
Well, he ain't going to take me down, and if he does, I'm getting back up. And again, I've got the cardio. And then I'm just going to be too powerful. And again, I'm good on the outside. He's going to be a lot shorter than me. You've seen what I can use in my range, even with tall people. Imagine what I could do to someone half my size. That'll be interesting. But look, man, again, he's an athlete. He really is. He's explosive. He still would be dangerous and quick. But at the same time, you know what I mean? I honestly think he'll just have a puncher's chance. But again, him being that light, I don't think that's likely.
I'm just wondering, what do you think about sort of where the sport's at the moment? I mean, Henry's a dual champion. We've got a lot of dual champions, and guys aren't really sort of defending the title in their divisions. It seems like people try and win a belt so that they could go up and win another belt, and so that they could go up and win another belt. And I guess before, everybody's goal was to be a dual champion. Now it seems like people are going to try and be a triple champion, a quadruple champion, until they hold every championship in the game. Does it sort of frustrate you being the number one contender and sort of already missing out on a title shot because Frankie Edgar's getting it, to see the sport sort of being in this position?
Yeah, man. Defend your titles far out. Like, you know, I want to go for the third belt. Let's defend a couple, then go for it. You know what I mean? It's just getting ridiculous. You want to break a record? You know, they're talking about I want to break records. Oh, right, that's what Henry said. Break a record and defend in both divisions because no one's bloody done that. There you go. That's it. You're done. You've broke a record. Then you could go to your third one. Has anyone done that? No one's done that, have they?
Oh, no, Daniel Cormier did. Sorry, Daniel Cormier did that.
He defended his heavyweight, or didn't he just win it?
Well, he defended it against Derek Lewis. He won it against Stipe, and then he defended it Derek Lewis.
He did too.
I only say that because we were there, Alex, over there in New York City.
Okay, yeah, you're right. No, I take that back. I forgot about that.
We will let you go, Alex, because honestly, we could chat to you all day. You're a fun, loose bloke. Everybody knows that by now, but we don't want to be too greedy with your time. So we'll end it on this note. Ideal scenario. Let's say Edgar and Holloway, the winner of that, is healthy. When would you like to fight them? What's sort of a date or at least a month that you would like to fight, for the title and finally get your title shot?
That Aussie card would be perfect. It would be perfect for Australia. It'd be perfect for, our part of the world. And, it'll just be great. That would be unreal. Like, I really think that Could you imagine a card like that? Could you really imagine a card like that? It'd be incredible. So that'd be ideal. Whether they would want to turn it around that quick, I don't know. But we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be the champion by the end of 2019.
And just quickly, I got to add, because we said this when Huge was on there, Huge from City Kickboxing. If you have Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker, or I should say Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya in the main event, you got one Aussie, in fighting for a belt. And then if you have two Aussies, you have Alex Volkanovski versus the winner of Max Holloway and Frankie Edgar. I mean, main and co-main events, it's unprecedented. Never in Australian UFC history. It would be foolish not to do that, right?
Exactly right. And I think the UFC, like I said, we're talking to the UFC. We told them what we want. They're going, look, that'd be perfect. Like, we're saying, when are you thinking of us having that fight if they go, look, that October card you want would be perfect, but we just need to see how that goes with that fight. And obviously we need to wait. They can say as much as they want that. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Someone gets injured, it doesn't happen. But co-main event for the title and then the main event for the title as well. You know what I mean? Imagine if it was Max as well. So Hawaii's not too far from Australia. Is that still Australasia?
Not quite.
Unfortunately.
We love the Hawaiians, so we'd love to claim. But just to clarify, so the UFC are on board. We don't know how long it'll take for those guys to recover, but that is their goal as well. They want you on that co-main event spot, right?
Well, that's what they say. You know what I mean? But, they've probably promised a lot of things. I'm not having a dig at them. No, I am having a little bit of a dig at them. They've probably promised many things. But at the same time, look, man, there's so many things happening. Again, I'm not the one to dwell on things. Anything can happen. But at the same time, I'm going to put myself in a position where, I can't be robbed of opportunity. So I'm going to be ringside. Like I told you, I'm going to Canada. I'm going to be fight fit. The UFC know this. They know if there's an injury, I'm there. I'm ready. I'm going to be on weight. I will take that fight. You get what I mean? I'm not going to let these opportunities pass up just in case I do get robbed of another opportunity. So I'll be there. They're aware of it. They're happy that I'm keen to do that. And, again, it's fell through twice before this title fight. Who's to say it won't happen again? I wish them well. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but I'm there if it does.
Well, guys, it's going to be exciting to see what happens. You could be seeing Alex Volkanovski fight for a title sooner than you think. We've seen what's happened to Max Holloway in the past. Who knows what's going to happen? But with that, make sure to follow him on Twitter and Instagram, and of course.
One more thing. If I do get a late replacement and I take that belt, I will probably back it up in that Australia card as well. So you have an Aussie champion defending his belt on that card. So I'm the type of person that would do that. Title fight money looks a lot better than what we're on right now. So I'll be happy to fight regularly.
Wow. So there you go. Either way, likely to see Alex Volkanovski on this massive Australian card. And like Casper said, it would be history making. The Australian people have been waiting for a card like this since the UFC began. So hopefully it all comes together. Of course, follow Alex on Twitter and Instagram. Alex, thank you so much for your time. We don't want to be greedy. We want to let you go out there. Look at that. Beautiful green. Look at that. Beautiful out there in Australia. And we can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. See you later.
Thanks, Alex.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Bye.